Well, hello everybody. Now, for those of you just discovering this space, my name is Michael, and I want to let you know that you have landed in Sovereign Sandboxing, a channel where we build, play, and reflect on games that let us shape our own stories. Now, let's get back to the video. Today we are back in my SimCity project, as we usually are on this channel anyways for the last little bit, and we are taking things back to the Blue Water Village suburb neighborhood, where I have been working on intermittently balancing it between different neighborhood builds, because as you can see on that map there's still a lot to go, a lot more single family homes to build for this particular world of mine. And although I'm excited for it, I do feel like I need to balance it out a little more. I felt like I needed to balance it out with other more urban builds or different style builds. Anyways, I'm kind of getting a little ahead of myself here, just because I have already explained that approach to this channel in the past when I decided to make that pivot. Anyways, we are back in Blue Water Village, and today's build is actually something that is going to be a little different. And by a little different, I mean a lot different. You see, there was a comment left on my YouTube channel quite a while ago, and I will post that one up here whenever I get a chance at finding it here. And like it usually seems to be the case, I can never remember the name of the user who had left it. I'm pretty sure it was Judy Albert, but there was a great comment that was left on here that to perhaps like get some of these houses closer to an affordable price point that sim families could afford in the game. And I'll kind of explain a little bit about why my houses are a little unaffordable for players, that I should consider like doing a build where it's under construction, or it's incomplete, or completely empty. And I absolutely agree with that kind of an approach here, and I really love that idea. And so that's what today's build is really all about. It's all about building a single family suburban style house and making sure that it is completely empty and unfinished, and you know, just to kind of keep things palatable for me, at least, and to make it enjoyable for me, I decided to try my best to like kind of build this house as if it were in the middle of construction. So I tried to create like stud walls, and I even ended up digging out an underground pool and all of that. Like I really wanted it to look like it was still under construction and it was something new that was being developed in the Blue Water Village neighborhood. And I do plan to do more builds like this. Maybe I'll do more builds like this in different phases of construction. But anyways, the idea behind that is really just to do a little bit of storytelling and to invite the player themselves, like if they do decide to download this this house here, to kind of complete the project on their own as they see fit. And I'll use a couple of construction props here and there just to try to, again, emulate the storytelling and to convey that it is an active construction site that is continuing to build upon itself. So this was a lot that was actually a lot of fun for me to build in terms of the direction that I wanted to take with it. It really it also was very interesting for me to build this lot when I did, because I was in the middle of my school studies, and when I was building this lot I managed to find some free time. And so it's kind of odd, because I literally had built this lot back in either January or maybe even February, and I'm doing the audio recording for it in April here. So there's probably lots of details that I might actually miss out in the audio recording, but I got the footage right in front of me, so there really shouldn't be any excuse on my end here. But anyways, this was a lot that was a lot of fun to build, just because it really helped to break up the pace a little more. And for a lot like this, I have no hesitations about actually pretty much copying and pasting it and actually finishing the interiors of it in a future build. And actually that will be an upcoming future build in the near future, I suppose, because I really do love the layout of this house, of this two-story home, and I definitely want to kind of complete the vision in a future build. Now, The approach here was that I wanted the exterior to be at least finished, and I'm pretty sure that this is not proper. Like, I'm sure if you really looked hard into it, this wouldn't be proper order of construction or anything of the sorts. But because this is The Sims 3 and because it's a game, I decided to take some liberties here. So you're not gonna see, you know, for example, like things are gonna be out of order. Like, I betcha before any of the like the drains were put in or anything, you would have like rough openings for windows and doors and all that. Whereas when I was having to build this, I had to like for the door frames and for doorways and all of that, I just decided to use like a very basic doorway to emulate that it is still kind of under construction. So like not everything is perfect. Like there was just no way for me to achieve it, or at least no way that I was thinking of at the time to really kind of show that this was finished on the outside, but a little more incomplete on the inside, with the backyard still being developed and all of that. But anyways, I do think that the vision actually does come together quite well for it. Like I mentioned before, I really love the layout and the form and the floor plan of this particular build. And so as I was building it, and as I was, you know, totally intending on making sure that it was empty and unfurnished and all of that, I really did get that itch, to be honest with you guys, to go ahead and decorate it and all of that. So, you know, this home is definitely perfect the way it is and the way that it ended up. And I love the fact that it's actually a construction site and that it's empty, and most importantly, a lot cheaper and I guess a little more affordable for Sims players that are starting out families and such. And I'll speak a little more on my thoughts on the real estate prices in The Sims 3 and all that, which is kind of hilarious considering that it's a video game and all that. But anyways, I love the layout of this one so much that I am absolutely planning on copying and pasting this and just recoloring the exterior slightly and furnishing it just so that I can kind of scratch that itch whenever I get to it. So if you guys think that this layout is kind of wasted and that you're hoping for it to be furnished, just hold tight. Like, I've got a furnished one on the way. I haven't filmed that episode yet, but I will in, I guess, the near future. Now that I have all this time off from school and all that, it might actually be something that is on the agenda. As you guys have noticed, this is a shorter episode because of the lack of interior decorating. I guess that half the episode, half of my single family home episodes is dedicated to interior decorating, which is a surprise to me now that I'm kind of seeing it. Maybe I'm just spending too much time on the exteriors and the layouts and all that. I'm not even too sure myself, but yeah, this, I guess for me, is a shorter episode. And I know that on other channels, this would probably be like a longer episode because other channels might take a lot less time, or maybe they talk a lot less than I do. I don't know. I talk a lot. This is really the only chance I really get to speak, really. But yeah, this is definitely a shorter episode because of the lack of interiors. And yes, if you are new to the channel, or if you've forgotten the vision for Blue Water Village, I am sticking to shades of blue and possibly like shades of white, or like a really bluish gray for all of the exteriors in Blue Water Village. Part of my mindset behind that was that it would be something mandated by the local neighborhood, that all exteriors of the single family homes and all residential properties have to have like an exterior that's in a shade of blue or some sort. I know that a place out in Greece, Santorini, mandates that for their buildings. They mandate that their buildings are white, for example. So I kind of wanted to introduce that kind of a mandate here in Blue Water Village as a suburban municipality that wants to retain its character. So that's why all of the single family homes that you guys will see are going to be different shades of blue, which really represents the namesake itself. And I even did a couple of townhouse builds, as you guys would have noticed on my channel, which kind of emulates a rolling wave. So that's kind of the color palette that I am going for the exteriors of these homes for Blue Water Village. And you know, I'm not actually going to be I'm not actually going to be picky about like which blue goes where. It's just kind of how I feel about it going forward and all of that. So if there is a particular shade of blue that you would like to see, feel free to drop the hex code or the number code in a comment section below so I can read it and perhaps even incorporate it in a future build. I would love to do it. Blue is my favorite color, if you guys didn't already know, but I really, and it wasn't actually a reason why I chose to name the suburb Blue Water Village. I just wanted to pay tribute to a Sims 2 neighborhood that was, in my opinion, well done. I know I did a whole review on Open for Business, and I did kind of had some feedback regarding Blue Water Village as a concept, but I love the name. I love the gaming experience that I had when playing The Sims 2 with Blue Water Village, and even though like I have feedback for it now looking back, I actually really had a lot of great memories playing The Sims 2 and enjoying the Blue Water Village neighborhood from there. And I had always treated it like a suburb back when I was actually playing that game. So yeah, that's really why I kind of made sure to incorporate it in my interpretation of a SimCity world and how I wanted to really pay tribute to different aspects of the lore and such. But yeah, as you'll see me do the interiors, you'll notice that it was really hard for me to like represent wood studs in the wall and all that. Like I kind of experimented a little bit with some wallpapers, some that like some paneling wallpapers, and they just really weren't doing it for me. And you know, looking back, and this is kind of funny because I might put this on my list of things to do for an edit episode for Blue Water Village. I'm going to actually note that down in my notebook. But you know, I decided to make the walls like a plywood sheathing just to give it that incomplete look. But in reality, it would likely have a gypsum wall board finish, which is that gray wall that you guys see that are used when you don't have a wall that's painted. So I might actually go back and unpaint all of the walls, which might be a little triggering for some. Like it's totally triggering for me because whenever I see those unpainted gray walls, it just kind of makes me cringe a little bit. It's something that I'm not like, I don't like it. But maybe there's like a different kind of wallpaper in the game itself that's similar to it, but also is able to emulate like what a gypsum wallboard finish would look like. And I totally would expect that that would be a material that is mandated by construction standards within SimCity. And I know I sometimes talk about regulations and administrative red tape essentially within my world of SimCity, but you know, sometimes I think it's fun to just kind of imagine like what those regulations would be. Maybe that just speaks to how boring I am as a person, but I imagine that gypsum wallboard finishes would be something that would be considered a construction standard like for these kinds of homes. So, you know, going back and kind of looking at my work, the plywood sheathing probably wouldn't be that finished face, although it probably would be a layer of some sort within the wall assembly, but it's definitely not going to be something that's a finished face, which is what we sometimes see. With that said, usually gypsum wallboard is actually painted over in some cases, and so I'm definitely going to try and look into figuring out like how I can emulate that best. So it's definitely going into the edit, into an edit episode of some kind within Blue Water Village. As you guys know, like I only like to do the edit episodes as I finish up a neighborhood, and with Blue Water Village having so many lots in it, I might actually release like a couple of edit episodes for Blue Water Village. Who knows? I'll just kind of play it by ear there and just sort of feel out how I want to best approach that task. So it turns out that I need to make a quick little correction here on what I just said. So I was remembering this build wrong, and like I mentioned before in the beginning of the episode, I did this building either in January or February, and I am recording the audio for it in April. That's how crazy my schooling has been. But anyways, the correction that I need to make is that I actually did finish the walls with something that I think would represent like a gypsum wallboard finish within the interiors there. So yeah, looks like I'm taking that one off of my to-do list on Blue Water Village edits, which is good because that list is actually getting quite extensive. Not with this build or even the last build, but some of the earlier builds that I was doing before kind of need a rework a little bit. So yeah, that's something that is much further down the line. Where I was getting the plywood finishes mixed up with the gypsum wallboard finishes is actually with the flooring. I don't think that the flooring would actually have like a plywood finish as the top layer of it. I'm sure that there are examples where that is the case, where you have like a plywood layer and then you put like your final finish on top of the plywood. But I don't think that that is actually standard or like really commonly found. Kind of like one of those decisions that like a contractor or like maybe even an architecture firm would make that is a little out of the ordinary, but not unheard of. But yeah, the floors do get a plywood finish where they make sense. Of course, the basement is going to have a concrete finish for its floor because that makes sense. But yeah, that's kind of where I was getting it mixed up. I do a bit of front yard landscaping, and of course, like I mentioned before, I do finish the exterior. Now that I think about it a little more, I think that the construction sequence here for this particular build actually does make a bit of sense. Like you finish the exterior first, then you work on the interiors and the utilities and all of that, including, I guess maybe a pool would come into place, like an underground pool, but anyways, I wasn't thinking too hard about the sequence of construction when doing this. I just wanted to make sure that the exterior was finished because it would bother the hell out of me if I didn't have a finished exterior when looking at the rest of the neighborhood. I don't mind looking at a little bit of a dirt pit that represents a pool because I do appreciate a bit of storytelling within my lot builds, but the exterior needs to be finished at least. Speaking of which, some of the windows that I used are actually custom content window from outside of the Sims 3 store. Now, if you've been with my channel for a little bit here, you'll know that I am someone that likes to stick with the Sims 3 store because I find that there is a lot of consistency, like with the style of custom content and all that, and I like my game looking at least consistent. But I found these great window sets and I completely forget where I did find them. I might actually, yeah, if I do find them, I'll put them up on screen and in the description box. How does that sound? They're absolutely free, but they are absolutely wonderful as well, and I feel like they fit the Sims 3 game pretty nicely. And as you guys have probably noticed in some of my other builds, I have been dabbling a little bit in custom content here and there, and I've kind of failed to mention it, not because I'm ashamed of it or anything, but because I have been busy talking about other things. Like, for example, in some of the Far East neighborhood apartment lots, I was using like garbage cans and some what are they called? Some wooden racks. What the hell am I thinking of here? Pallets, wood pallets. I was using wood pallets, which is obviously custom content. I've used graffiti objects in the past, and maybe I have like spoken about this before, but I just kind of wanted to reiterate that if you are seeing like some windows in this build that look completely new to you and you're wondering if it's in the base game, it's not. It's custom content. I am fairly certain I found them on Mod The Sims, and yeah, I stand by the choices that I made for this game. Although I try to play like my games very lightly modded, I try not to go overboard with custom content because I know that that is a slippery slope, to say the very least. There are certain pieces where I just think that you need to actually download them I just feel like the game itself and the Sims 3 store, as expansive and as wonderful and creative that you can get with the Sims 3 store items, as one can, I just don't feel like it covers all aspects of what I need in my game. So although I try to like be very light with my custom content and all of that, it's not something that I am completely opposed to. It's just got to have the right time and place. And I felt like the windows here were definitely the right time and place. They look amazing, mind you. Okay, so yeah, let's I've been talking about the price of this before, but I want to talk about it right now. The price of this lot, this building and everything, is actually 67,000 simoleons, and that is significantly cheaper compared to the other furnished options that you have in Blue Water Village. Like if we look at another two-story house of a similar size that's fully furnished, it comes out to about like, I want to say 217,000 simoleons for a furnished version of something of a similar size. Even the modern two-story build that I did just before came out to be like a 200,000 or like a high 190 or something, like with all the furnishings. So the furniture and the furnishings that I decorate my lots with certainly does add a significant amount to the actual price of the lot itself. So this lot that you see right before you is actually something that is slightly more affordable for your Sims. Like honestly, if you've had your Sims like work for a good week getting the promotions that they could get, like maybe a week and a half, they're just one mother load away from affording this prime piece of real estate. And I'm not trying to sell you guys on that kind of thing, but it just kind of goes to show as well that the gaming mechanics in The Sims 3 is like, when it comes to buying houses and all of that, there is actually like a real need for some sort of a banking system, because the only way you can buy real estate in this game is really through cash, and you can't really get anything, like you can't get any mortgages or anything like where a down payment on like a $200,000 house, like if you had like a 20% down payment on a $200,000 house, and if my math is correct, that'd be about like 40,000 simoleons or whatever, if that was a 20% down payment or whatever. And then you'd pay your weekly whatever in the bills, like your mortgage and the bills. But because The Sims 3 doesn't have like that kind of a mortgage system here, it makes a lot of the suburban homes quite unattainable, if you want my honest opinion. Like, I'm not even using the most expensive items for a lot of these, or most expensive objects. I'm just decorating them out completely so that they aren't looking bare or anything. And they come out to be about like 200,000 simoleons or whatever. And, you know, with the game mechanics existing the way that they do, there's no clear way for players to really own homes within the world that I'm creating, and I'm not about to sacrifice any kind of creativity with the homes that I make. So, you know, it's kind of tough in that aspect, but the free real estate cheat does exist. I mean, the Goth Manor build that I did was over 1 million simoleons, so you'd have to play like generations and generations in order to afford that thing. Anyways, another thing I wanted to mention is that one thing that really does bother me is the stairs in the game and the options that we have available. I want more stair options, and that might actually be custom content that I seek. Like, there is no stairs that like breaks with a landing, and you'll notice in one of my other two-story builds that I added in a landing to those staircases. And I also did the same thing in the crumple bottom chateau build way back when in the Pleasant View neighborhood. And the problem with my builds, first and foremost, is that I already build on foundations. So trying to build in landings for the stairs as they exist kind of messes up your whole lot in a way. And you need to do like some funky stuff in order to like make it look at least palatable, or passable, I should say. And yeah, like you have to build in like an invisible, not an invisible, but like a corridor that nobody can access, because you have like walls that are bending in weird ways. But anyways, I might look into downloading stairs that actually have landings to them. I have seen them before, and I might actually bite the bullet and do it. It just depends on whether the animations of the Sims walking up and down the stairs will actually animate properly, because that's one thing that would bug the hell out of me if I downloaded and they just didn't behave properly. But yeah, I just wanted to mention like that kind of thing, and also about the custom content, because I am starting to include it in my downloads, and I am at this point not offering like custom, like vanilla download games or just Sims 3 based downloaded lots. Just because it would take me so much time to like filter it out for these custom lots. Hilariously, I actually have to start wrapping this episode up because I am absolutely not used to these shorter episodes, and I say that laughingly, because usually these builds are about an hour long and I just have so much to say whenever I am doing these builds. But anyways, in the next episode, we are going back to the Far East neighborhood, and I am actually still in the middle of building out this lot at the time of recording this episode, but it is turning out to be something that I am very excited for, because you guys voted on what I should make it, and the winner of that poll is, of course, like a martial arts academy. So that is going into the Far East neighborhood when we get back to it in the next episode. Speaking of future episodes and the future of this channel, now that I am out of school, I've really got to I've got to get it together, and I am going to figure out some news to share with you guys with the channel going forward, and how that's going to look in the future to come, as I really do enjoy putting out these videos. I enjoy the entire process. I enjoy connecting with you guys and all of that. So it's something that I definitely will continue. But in terms of scheduling and all that, I feel like I need to do better. I pretty much panicked when school started getting really effing crazy for me in 2024 and 2025. So I like reduced my output by quite a bit in terms of episodes, but I really do enjoy this. Anyways, I just want to take another minute here just to say thank you so much for watching this video and for staying with this channel. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. And if you've enjoyed this video, and if you've enjoyed this speed build and this different approach to Sims building, then feel free to like this video and consider subscribing if you haven't already. And if you've got feedback for me, drop that comment in the comment section. I do not mind reading it at all, and some of the best ideas come from the comment section, if I'm going to be completely honest. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and if the tours aren't already playing, feel free to stick around for those. But other than that, please have yourselves a wonderful day.